Jason,
What up, dude?
how are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well as well. Thank you for joining me today. I understand you were on daddy duty this morning, huh?
Yeah. I'm first to get up with the kids and then do it all. So,
I feel that I'm on it every day. I got two little girls upstairs myself. So
oh, I love it. How old?
one just turned 4, and the other one is 7 months now. I guess she was born March 2nd. So
Oh, amazing. I've got a 6 month, almost 7 month old, March 19th, and a 3-year-old.
oh wow, so our kids are really like the same age.
Yeah,
It's a lot right now, isn't it?
it's pretty wild, man. It's definitely wild. It's a new age of parenting for sure.
Yeah, every day is an adventure is an understatement.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is like something new and new, learning something new. It's crazy.
Well, I want to ask you about Wrong Generation. I understand that the murder of George Floyd here in Minneapolis and the 2 weeks that followed were the catalyst for the EP. What did you experience in that time?
Honestly, I experienced this sort of, for me, like a generational revelation where I was feeling a sense of solidarity with, those in my age bracket, and like, the word generation for the first time, the way that I felt was necessary. It was the first time that I felt we were coming together the way we needed to eradicate and to shift the things that we for so long have talked about wanting to change. That was on top of like the aggregate, like the collection of, pain and fear and frustration after so many years, and the frequency of, of murder and feeling disaffected and disenfranchisement. And I know a lot of people think that that sounds cliche, but it's just the truth. If you look at stats, it gets tiring. And that day really made me feel like so deeply, profoundly hurt. But I actually felt like I wasn't alone. I could see the rest of the world, and like I said, my generation feeling the same way.
And Wrong Generation, that title, it sounds tough and very punk rock, but it also sounds hopeful. Are you hopeful for America's future, or are you optimistic, or are we just repeating history?
I feel like I have to be. I feel like it's the only way I can actually make efforts, in the name of progress. I have to believe it's worth something, because at that point it becomes this like almost like existential or absurdist crisis where nothing matters, and I feel like I have to remain hopeful in order for me to continue working towards the greater good. And I think that my children, they actually offer me a space to feel that hope. They really do. I look at my kids every day and I think everything I do uh, becomes a debt for them or becomes a benefit for them. And I want to try to make my strongest efforts to offer them benefits rather than debts. And so I am hopeful. And I think that it runs kind of in tandem with, as a necessity, to continue working towards, a future that is going to work for my kids. You have to be hopeful. I don't know how many times I can say it. I think it comes almost out of necessity.
Yeah, I can appreciate that for sure, and relate to that. Really, I can relate to that a lot,
Yeah.
as a parent more than anything else. Um, I'm wondering, because you've talked about this being art as activism, or activism as art. Uh, are there messages? Are there specific messages or specific things that you really want people to walk away with, or is this something that is going to speak for itself? Can you sort of talk about those messages?
Yeah, I would like people to know that there's going to be pain in the progress we seek. I think that if history is any indicator or indication of what we're going to see, there is going to be a lot of arduous and tumultuous work to be done in order for these things that, that we claim we want for them to happen. It's going to take a lot. There's going to be sacrifice. There's going to be what I believe to be a very large uphill battle. There's a lot of unlearning and dismantling. But I want people, again, I guess back to your point of hope and seeming hopeful, I want people to take away the fact that it's worth it. And that once we do, even before we actually get to the mountaintop, even before that, I think that part of the journey, we will find beautiful places to exist together. We will find new friends and allies and new ways to live and learn. So as difficult as I know it's going to be, I also want to offer a bit of solace knowing that it's all worth it, knowing that we can ironically find each other in our struggle. But again, I also want to be extremely forthcoming, and I want to be honest and transparent in my belief that it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful, and there will be a lot of loss. And it has to be worth it. And if it's worth it, then that's something bigger than all of us, isn't it? That's something bigger than me, you, anybody that wants to get involved. And that speaks to the human spirit, what we're able to do and what we've achieved so many times in order just to stay alive on this planet. So I guess it's just being as honest as possible about the difficulties we face in order to get where we want to go, or at least where we say we want to go, but knowing that that's also part of the beautiful struggle.
I'd like to ask you more about that, but I'd also like to ask you more about the making of this EP. I mean, over 5 months, basically in the middle of a pandemic. You've got the live stream, which sounds super innovative. Can you talk about the process of creating in the midst of all these unprecedented challenges?
Yeah. It almost felt as though I was a kid again, like where I didn't know anything. I didn't know what it was I didn't know how to tour, so we just went and did it and hoped that it worked. And I didn't know how to really create albums or EPs, so we just did it and figured it out after the fact. I feel like I'm back to that, to be completely honest, only now I've got a lot of responsibility and so there are times where it's anxiety inducing, but there is a large part of me that is I'm stimulated in like a youthful way almost, and I'm stimulated in a what's the word, I'm like a curious way. I'm really curious to see how this all works, and the willingness to fail it has to be present again, because it's all so possible in these times. We don't know what any of this is going to look like, how achievable it is, who's going to be willing to do it, because everybody else is in a weird spot and a difficult spot. So doing all of this was crazy, and every single time there was not one bit of certainty until we actually saw the product in front of us. So even there's been other things that I was working on that just completely fell through, like during this time. So I mean, it's just a lot of excitement, anxiety, but I don't know. I guess it's just trying to make the best out of this situation that we don't have a metric for. We don't have a gauge for, a barometer on.
Is there anything unexpected that has emerged from all of this that you've been maybe pleasantly surprised by or excited about?
Yeah, I think a sense of independence for a lot of people, and people that I know. I see a lot of people in my life who have exhibited a sense of independence that will behoove them moving forward in their life, myself included. Like there's another sense of independence I've achieved with my art in the actual like the creation of it, learning new ways to do it. This whole situation has taught me again how to be even more laterally thinking, how to circumvent a lot of problems in order to find the solution. So a lot of solutions-based activity for me, for everything from my children to my art to my own breed of activism to me as a person personally. Like my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my friends and family, like really trying to make sure that I work on those things in a way that is very new to me in a lot of ways. So yeah, a lot of that.
I can absolutely relate to that. I think we've all had to examine our circumstances and every aspect of the circumstances just to make it work, just to make it happen.
Yeah.
I saw Walter from Rotting Out is on the album. Can you
Yeah.
tell me how that came about?
That's my homeboy from home. We were in a band together as kids.
Oh, word?
Actually, yeah. So me and actually 3 members of Rotting Out were actually in a straight edge hardcore band when we were kids. So I've known Walter forever, and I've always respected him for what he does, how he does it. And as he developed Rotting Out, I was so it was so, to me, it was so needed having, you know, brown people playing hardcore music, talking about, you know, POC issues, POC activity, POC circumstances, and then taking that and living it in their music on tour throughout the world. Like, it was just so important to me. And so, I mean, it was really kind of like no question. I was like, I've been talking about getting Walter on a song, and then I wrote For the Record and was like, oh yeah, this is the song, because it reminds me of the band we were in when we were kids.
How so?
It's fast, it's short, it's distilled, it's a punk song, like straight up, like it's just a punk song. And that was literally John, and Travis got together and we're like, let's write a punk song. And so we did. And I think actually that riff is the first thing I played, and then we pressed record and I just kept playing it. So it's like that, just that visceral. And Walter is one of the most like genuinely visceral, intense, raw people I know, just overall. So the song was like screaming his name. So we answered it.
That's cool as hell. I think they're rad. I've been following them for a couple of years now. They're super dope. I'm excited too. Okay, so the live stream, the technology, it sounds pretty exciting. But also your live show is kind of nuts. So I'm wondering, like, without spoiling anything, like, is there something for you to like climb on or jump off of? Like, like what are we gonna see? What's happening?
So there is nothing to climb on because it's my friend's like $1 million studio, and I would have to pay $1 million that I don't have. So nope. There's like things within it. Obviously, you know, there's setups that we've created. There's a couple moments that we have created. I'm quietly into theater. I really like the theatrical sense of performance. I like creating moods. I like creating depth and drama as best you can while being authentic. And so I'm definitely honing in on that with this one, and everything from lighting to visuals to possibly some other participants in the live stream safely. So yeah. I mean, there's gonna be. I'm really trying to explore a new realm of Fever, because we have to, right? Again, because we have to. Like, we have to do it. So.
Well, I'm excited for it. I'm really hopeful to see this develop and emerge, this live stream platform, because it's what we have, like you said, because we need it. And I'm wishing you nothing but the best of luck and continued success. The show start on the 23rd. Ours here in Minneapolis would be on the 30th, the Central Time Zone performance, night before Halloween. That's pretty rad. fever333.veeps.com. Thanks so much, man, for kicking it with me for a few minutes. All the best to you.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you, Woody, for real.
Have a good one. Yeah, no doubt.
All right, bro.